So very welcome, Ronan.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks for joining us. I suppose the best thing is to start maybe early in your pre-entrepreneur career. You went to Glenstall locally.
I know I did, yeah, and I haven't been back there since I left 9 years ago, so I don't get that to Limerick much at all, so it's kind of cool to be back.
Great. We have some Glenstall pupils here this evening to support you. So, Glenstall was sort of an interesting start from the point of view of entrepreneur, because the Benedictine monks are quite unique in their business acumen.
Yeah, they are, yeah. They're pretty entrepreneurial. I think the lads probably know this, but there's lots of, they run lots of businesses all the time. And when I was there anyway, they'd be selling, honey or different things all the time. And the monks would be encouraged to, I don't know if they were being encouraged, but they were given freedom to develop things that would make money for the monastery. And I think worldwide, Benedictine monks have billions of businesses. So it's quite
innovative. And didn't they have a hit record with one of their Gregorian chants or something as well?
They did, yeah. Number one. Yeah.
So do you reckon that sort of might have planted the seed, seeing these monks doing all this cool stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it probably did a little bit. But I knew before I went to, when I was like 9 or 10, I always knew I wanted to run my own business.
Okay.
So I didn't know what it would be, but I just knew that I did.
Did you come from a family that were?
Yeah, well, my dad had, actually, it's quite interesting. I think a lot of my peers or people I know that run startups, they do come from families where their parents maybe didn't have a big business or something, but they might have a shop, or they each work for themselves. And my dad worked for himself, and I think that probably had a bigger influence than anything else.
And in school, what kind of stuff did you like? I mean, were you a maths sort of science nerd, or were you more creatively leaning?
Glenstall is really well known for rugby, as probably everyone knows, but I wasn't very good at that. So I used to, I'd be one of the, I suppose, the geeks who didn't, when everyone was out playing rugby, would be 3 or 4 of us looking for things to do. But so I used to do lots of different things. We'd try and start things. We'd try and organise things like badminton tournaments, or the big things that we'd be just trying to start, which I suppose was quite entrepreneurial without realising at the time. And organising the sporting events and things like that. So you're given the freedom to do that, which was really good. An experiment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on from Glenstall, then you went to Trinity.
Yeah.
As the top reputation of most Irish universities, certainly in successful entrepreneurs as past pupils, right?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the main reasons is that Trinity is unlike other universities in Ireland in that it has, you usually do undergrad over 4 years rather than 3 years, but that doesn't actually mean you do more work. They just spread the work out over the 4 years. And so most people, if you do an arts degree, or I studied law, you only do 8 hours of lectures a week, and that allows for a lot of time to do different things. And a lot of people wouldn't even go to those 8 lectures. They might only go to 5 or 6 of them, so you have a lot of spare time. And I had to work in college about 20 to 30 hours a week, and I was able to do that. And I was very fortunate in my 3rd year to work on to get work in a startup like a .com. This is back in 2000, so it was one of Ireland's first sort of .com company called Oxygen.ie, which I think is still going. I don't know if anyone knows it now, but then it was Ireland's 7th biggest website, and it was a student portal. And that's usually the jobs I'd had up to then were working in Alabama or something like that. So it was great to just work in a cool office and get paid, even if it was only £6 an hour. It it felt cool, and we were given freedom to do whatever we wanted, and that, again, me and another guy called Dylan Collins, who's quite well known, who's had a good few startups as well, we worked together and we were able to implement whatever we wanted, like complete freedom. And one of the things we implemented was, this is in 2000, so Big Brother, first summer was in 2000, if anyone remembers that. But we launched an Irish version of that over the web called Number 54. And we basically got a student from all the top 5 universities in Dublin, so like DCU, DIT, Trinity, UCD. And we put these 5 students in an apartment for the year, and it was fully paid for. Guinness provided unlimited Guinness. And, yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, but it was just, that was the concept of it. And obviously they had good crack in there, and we streamed it on the web. And at the time, like, streaming something on the web was a pretty big deal. It was on, everyone had dial-up, so you know, it wasn't a normal thing. There was no YouTube or anything like that. And when we launched it, it was actually the second biggest streaming event ever in Europe. So you were kind of able, like, I think 50,000 people logged on the first night over dial-up. So, like, that's the freedom to be able to just do something like that. It's pretty amazing, and it gives you a lot of confidence. To basically go, why don't we just do this big thing and you just do it, you know?
Well, what a great start. But then around 2000 was just when everything started going wrong with the whole .com.
So I also got laid off while I was still in college, so that was interesting. And so that went bust because we were doing these things, but we weren't making any money, obviously, which was costing a lot of money. And the guy who was funding it, he was great to us, but he ran out of money, and then the .com crashed. He couldn't raise any more money. So yeah, that was interesting. But it was good though, because it meant that me and this guy Dylan then decided to start our own business while we were in college, and that's when we started Phorest. But even though what we did then isn't what we do now or anything, but
it's called Phorest, but it was a different.
Yeah, we called it Phorest. Like, we've called about 3 or 4 different companies Phorest. So yeah, they're actually technically not the same company.
Okay.
We kept the name.
Confusing. Yeah. So what was the first incarnation of Phorest?
So the first incarnation of Phorest was, well, the very first one was we set up a students' consultancy. So basically it was consultancy for brands that wanted to market themselves to students. So we made a nice website for it, and we never had any customers. So that died to death after a few months. But then
like principles and stuff, were you targeting those?
Yeah, but no, I mean, we didn't really know what we were doing.
Okay.
We approached Vodafone, or I think it wasn't called Vodafone then, but
sounded like a good idea. Like,
yeah.
How did you execute it around?
It was basically just a website, you know, and we just said we're students and we should, you know, we've done this number 54 thing, so therefore people should listen to what we say. Well, yeah.
Okay.
It didn't work. But then we came up with this text message idea, which did work. And basically how it worked was we went around college with just a clipboard, and we just asked people for their phone number. And we didn't say why, and everyone just gave us their phone number. Because in those days, people didn't, nobody was wondering whether they're going to get spammed or anything. So they just gave us the number. So we collected I think 3,000 phone numbers, and then we went to nightclubs and said, do you want to send a message to these numbers? And it worked really well. I remember the first night, and I think it probably was one of Ireland's first ever text campaigns. This is about 2001 maybe. And we went to the nightclub on, I don't know if anyone remembers it, it's called Pegs. It was on Nassau Street. So yeah, and it wasn't doing that well at the time. And we went to the owner, or the guy who was running things, and we said, do you want to text these guys with, I think it's Smirnoff Ice promotions, 2 Smirnoff Ice for €1 or 2 quid or whatever it was. And we sent the text message out, and that was when we didn't hear anything. And then that night, at about 9 o'clock, Dylan was walking on Nassau Street. He rings me and he goes, you got to come down here. So I legged it down, and there was a queue of about 200 people just all the way down. We knew we were onto something then, yeah, so that's kind of where it really started. Yeah.
Where did it go from there? What was the...
As we start, like the great thing about that was we didn't have to, because up to then I always had to have a job to pay for things, and so we actually earned enough money from going to all the different nightclubs, you know, the Pod, all these ones, the Kitchen, all these ones around Dublin at the time, and just signed them all up. And then we did things a bit bigger than that. We did a promotion for Smirnoff Ice, which that was quite a funny story as well. So we did it. That was I think it cost £1,500, which to us at the time was absolutely a huge amount of money. And so we did the promotion, and I think it was, if anyone remembers, on the old phones, you used to get like those logos in black and green on the phone. And all it was we just texted out the logo, the Smirnoff Ice logo to people's phones. I don't even know why they wanted to put it on the phone, but we did that, and then we went looking to get the money, but we didn't have an office or anything, so we couldn't put an address on our invoice. So when we sent it in, it never got paid. And then we always said we would call in to collect the money, but people don't do that. So, brands and stuff to get money. So they never paid the money, and then they also thought we were, they knew we were students, so they weren't that fussed about it for whatever reason. But we got really annoyed about it, and we'd be going to like phone boxes to ring them to ask if we could get paid. And eventually, Sean Blanchfield, who was also involved, who's also got his own company now, he had done the technology for it, and he set up an alert which basically just texted the accountant, we had a phone number every hour saying, this money was due, and just set it on repeat. And then the next day, like, she'd been getting it like, I don't know, 20 times or something, and she had the check ready.
So, Sean was a guest of Dublin Ryan there last month, and
yes,
he gave his story, you mentioned yourself and Dylan. So the three of you ended up very different and very interesting startups. So was there some initial chemistry between the three of you, or was it something about Trinity at the time? Was there lots of other stuff happening?
There's definitely a really strong chemistry between myself, Dylan, and Sean, and I think it was mainly because we were, like, Dylan is, if anyone knows Dylan, like, he's very good at he's a really good sales guy, basically, and we were working together in something called Post or publications, which is basically most universities have it, where the college newspaper is published and edited and everything. And we were in there, and he was selling advertising. When I first met him, I was editing like a supplement to the college paper, and he was selling ads for something else. And he was just unbelievable. He was just like picking up the phone and selling all these ads. And usually, when you're working with papers, it's a struggle to sell anything, and he was amazing at it. So I knew I wanted to do something with him, and then also, like, we talked about setting up a startup. Almost within 10 minutes of meeting each other, we were talking about setting up a startup. And in those days, that wasn't actually that common. But now it's much more a thing that people go, yeah, I want to work in a tech startup. But when I was in school, like, I don't think I even heard the word tech startup ever. So we were definitely attracted to working together because we like-minded that way. And Sean was similar as well, and he was working on a PhD on peer-to-peer networking, which back then is was the big sexy kind of technology. Skype was the sort of most famous peer-to-peer networking, but then there was like all the music downloading sites like Kazaa and things like that. So it was real sexy technology at the time. And he was doing a PhD in it, so we were just like, this is, there's something here. So we were constantly trying
to... So Sean the techie?
Sean was the techie, yeah.
So Sean was the techie, Dylan was the sales guy. How were you?
And well, that's a good question, and I think that's kind of why we ended up going our separate ways. But I was the operations guy, but I'm not. In a way, we were all kind of destined to run our own things. So we set up this company called Demonware, which was called Phorest Networks as well, and it became Demonware. It was basically, the idea was to use peer-to-peer networking to let computer games be played directly, online directly between them, where each, there's two people and two PCs, they'd be using peer-to-peer, so they'd host the game between them rather than having to use a big server network, which is what all computer online computer games.
You guys pioneered that?
Well, no, but like that never took off. Like. So, but that was the premise of the idea. But the processing and the speeds and everything were never good enough really to let that happen. But that was the big dream, was to do that. So I was never like it was a cool idea and everything, but I was never really that excited about it. So once we raised money for that idea, back in 2003, I think it was, I decided to go off and do my own thing.
How much was raised then?
600 grand.
What did they end up selling for?
17 million. So I left and then obviously left a bit too early.
You weren't selling for
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Okay, but it wasn't really for you.
It wasn't for me. I was glad I left. No, it was, and we obviously have a great relationship with the lads still, and we've obviously had, we share a lot of experiences that we've had along the way. But to be honest with you, when I left, I wasn't bringing as much to the table as they were anyway, and they carried on without it.
It wasn't like the team that was great though.
No.
So what did you want to do then, Ronan?
So I knew I wanted to do my own thing. The other thing I learned from that actually was that we spent a year raising that money, and it was a really hard year of. It wasn't so much that it was hard because we didn't have any money, we were used to not really having any money, so that was fine, and we were still only just out of college, so it wasn't that, it was more the constant rejection, and in those days it was just been the dot-com crash, so people weren't raising money anyway. Secondly, there was no such thing as angel investments. There was, I think there was like 2 VC funds, and they were used to investing into people a lot older than us. Like nowadays, it's much, people are much more open to the idea of investing into a couple of young guys with a good idea, and that concept didn't really exist. So it was really hard, and we constantly get rejected everywhere we went. And I also felt that we spent all our time was like how to pitch to raise the money as opposed to running the business.
So was there an understanding by you that you had to scale, that the company wouldn't do anything by bootstrapping? How did that assumption come about?
So yeah, basically, it was, we need to raise money, and when we raise money, we then have to decide what we need to build as a prototype or whatever to raise the next round of funding. And then when we've done that, we're going to be doing this again to raise the next round. And that was how, after a year of doing this, that's what the talk was, that was the narrative. And I basically, it just didn't do it for me. What I really enjoyed doing was when we, like the thing on the Asset Street, when you actually do something and you'd see a result and a business would do well out of something that you'd done, and the business owner would be really happy with you, and the person who owned the business was somebody that you could talk to. I didn't get as big a kick out of, say, doing it for Smirnoff Ice, because the person who benefited from that Smirnoff Ice we never even met. Do you know what I mean?
Like face-to-face stuff.
Yeah, so I love the idea of like the business owner that you'd actually see, you'd have them and they'd smile and thank you for getting into that business. And I think that's the kick I got. And I wanted to do that a lot more of that.
You still do directly with customers now?
And that's exactly that's what I still do today. So,
okay. We'll come back to that. So Demonware then, where did that go?
So I left, so basically after about a couple of months after we raised the money, I realised it wasn't for me, and I needed it to a deal. And I took a little bit of that text message technology that we had originally, I took that with me just to keep me going.
Right.
And another guy as well who'd been in Dylan's class in college, in Trinity as well, who joined me in a new venture.
That's cool.
And we basically we did the text messaging while we tried to figure out something else.
Okay. So was the text messaging then the seed of Phorest hair and beauty sort of?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we did text messaging for any business that wanted to do text messaging. And then we built a very small software application that just did appointments and appointment reminders.
Why appointments? What did you see a problem needing fixing?
Yeah, so like Jamie, who's the other, my girlfriend, and his girlfriend, who was kind of a good friend of both of us, she had a hair salon in Dublin, and it was boom time in Ireland, so it was like 2005, when I was in the IFSC, or a salon, so it was like, you know, it was sort of right in the centre of the Catholic Tiger or whatever, but she'd have terrible trouble on a Saturday with 3 or 4 people not turning up for an appointment, and those appointments were like over €100 each, so like that was €400 a week. It was hitting her in her pocket directly as well. So that's where the idea came from. We're like, well, if we send them a reminder by text message, we'll obviously, you know, cut that down. And it did. We ran it for her, and I ended up going to work in that salon for 3 months actually as a receptionist, while we were trying to figure it out. And we spent because but even when I was doing that, we were actually trying it in other businesses. So we thought, like, we'll do this idea of cutting down no-shows, and we'll do it in dentists, doctors, any business that could kind of work that way. And so we thought it was like a really big idea, and I went to work for 3 months in the salon just to kind of get a feel for that. But then I was going to go and get a job in a receptionist in a dentist as well, and just really see how the businesses worked. But while we were in the salon, it just worked like magic. Like almost immediately, she cut down her no-shows by 70%, and then we were getting calls from other salons wanting to use it, and then we also added the ability to send out a marketing promotion by text as well, and that went down 3 to 2, and so it just kind of sort of started to take on legs. But even while that was taking on legs, we were still not taking it seriously. We were kind of going, this is great, this is earning us a few quid while we work on the big idea. Yeah. The big idea which never came.
It's never needed to come though, because you want to. Yeah. You wrote a very good blog recently about niche.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about niches versus trying to do everything.
Yeah, so that's something that took me a few years a good few years to really understand. And when you start, like, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys here are running a business or thinking about starting a business. You're always looking for a sort of big idea, something that's going to be, take over the world, or it can impact loads of people. And I probably missed a few opportunities along the way that would have actually been really big businesses or really big opportunities, because it didn't seem like it had that big an impact. And that's kind of how we felt about the salon industry. I suppose not ashamed is maybe the wrong word to say, but it's kind of silly the way we felt about it. But we dismissed the salon industry as something that was a small cottage industry, and we couldn't have been more wrong. But that's what we felt. And it's funny, I think a lot of other people think that too, because even today people say to me all the time, so when are you going to go into dentists? When are you going to go into doctors? Or when are you going to do, that's great, it works in salons, so have you tried doing something else? Do you know what I mean? And just taking that particular niche, since we know about it, the salon industry is huge. There's 4 million salons around the world, there's 60 million people working in salons, there's 60 million people working in businesses that supply salons. So that's an industry that employs 120 million people. That makes it one of the top 10 biggest industries in the world, and yet we were like saying, it's a niche or whatever, or not a niche. I wasn't just saying it's not important. So I think sometimes if you do one thing really well and you're the best in the world, or you're trying to be as good as anybody else in the world at one very specific thing, it can have a much bigger impact than you realise. And I think people, or I wish I'd known that earlier, that just do something you really like, or if there is an opportunity, just try and do it as best as you can. You never know where that can.
Just focus on keep focused.
Rather than constantly looking for the bigger idea,
So you currently have, I think it's 88% of the Irish market.
Yeah.
So presumably you concentrated on Ireland first.
Yeah. So we were So the thing that came out of raising the money was, the one thing I knew was I didn't want to raise money, and I wanted to, and Jamie was the same, he wanted to have a business that paid its own way from the start, so that our first customer would pay us for something and we'd deliver a result and we'd go step by step. Like
Classic bootstrap.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what happened, you know. And we weren't making that much money, so I still had to work like as a receptionist in the salon to help pay for things, but it was related to the business. So it was always it meant something, you know. So you know, over time it was like one customer after another, and soon we had 50 salons, and the 50 salons, that was enough to pay 3 or 4 of us enough the basic wage to keep us going. And you kind of, from each step, you were like, right, if we want to hire another person, we need to make another 20 sales. So you just focus on making those 20 sales, and then you take on a person. So that was kind of the philosophy of the business. And then in Ireland, because we were bootstrapped, you know, we had to stop thinking the way in Demonware, which was obviously when we raised money, go international straight away. It was like, where are the games companies? They're in America, in Vancouver, or wherever. And you know, that's where you do all your marketing. We were here, it was just started in Dublin, and we just had salons in Dublin, and then we went to Cork and Limerick, and just bit by bit. And it's taken us 12 years to get to the point we're in now, you know. So there's been loads of up and downs during that time, obviously.
So what's your revenue like now? You're profitable, right?
Yeah, so we're doing about 9 million recurring revenue, and it's SaaS business, so it's all subscription-based revenue. And 75% of our revenue is in the UK, and we also are doing quite well in Finland and the US as well. But those are early days in those 2 markets, but they're probably our biggest growth markets.
So do you think there's too much emphasis in the startup world on funding and scaling and making assumptions you have to get funding immediately?
Well, in my experience, I can only say it for my experience, and I think it depends. Like, if anyone has read any blog posts I've written, they'll know that I'd be quite strong on saying yes. I think there is too much emphasis on that. But it depends on the business. Like, for example, Demonware could not have done what they did without raising funding. You can't do that kind of business without raising funding. But there's lots of businesses like what we did that it's better not to raise funding for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can earn money straight away from customers. And this competition that we've had over the years that have faded away who raise money, and their priorities were kind of wrong. Like, our priorities were always had to be about the customer, about them paying us and not churning and doing a good enough job that the customer would continue to pay us and recommend us. We have to have that right. And so we were always focused that way. And there was other companies that raised money in our space over the years who didn't have to do that, and they got caught up with other things, or tried to then go out into other markets and diluted their product. And we've managed to win those battles. Like, obviously we have lots of competition there as well. There's always new competition and things like that. But we were always I think one of the things that you can actually, if somebody is really well funded, this is something that in Ireland I've heard a lot from people going, somebody has an idea and they say, I want to do this idea, and you meet a VC or somebody and they'll say, yeah, but there's 3 companies in America and they've got 30 million raised each. So, go and think of a different idea. And in my experience, we've competitors who've raised over 100 million and we still have more customers. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that isn't, it's just because you've raised money doesn't mean, it can actually be negative. It's not just that it's positive. But then obviously there's other ideas that you couldn't build Facebook without raising a lot of money. You can't build Snapchat without raising a lot of money. So it's not a cookie cutter fits all kind of thing. It just depends on your idea. But I think people should think when they're doing their idea, what if their idea is, and if you have an idea that you can charge for it straight away, you should, and you should try building your business profitably from day one, and then you might find that you don't need to raise money when you put yourself in that. So,
absolutely. A number of our biggest guests have said that when they got funding, that the whole direction of their company changed, they lost control, didn't like their investors, they felt they were working for other people, and also that it's often overplayed that it's more than just money, that it's like network and all that. And A few of them said it's actually mostly dumb money. It's just money and correctly.
Yeah.
So very few people actually sort of saying how brilliant it was getting the money. Well, there's a lot of negative about it.
Yeah, I think so having said all that, like we were bootstrapped for 7 years, and then we did raise a seed round of €1 million. So we have raised money. So I've seen both sides of it. But one thing with raising money, we raised money in 2011, and we haven't raised since, and we don't intend to raise since. And we own, like myself and the employees own over 60% of the company, which gives us control. And if we were to do another round of funding, like what's called a Series A, that gives once you've done that, once you've got a Series A or Series B, which is like a lot of you guys probably know this already, but you might do an angel round for $500,000 or a small amount of money or $1 million, and then you might do what's called a Series A, or your first proper round of funding, and that can be anywhere from like $2 million to $6 million or something like that, and then your next round might be bigger again. But each time you go in those rounds, you're diluting it further and further and further, to the point where a really successful tech company, say something like Box, which people might know, they IPO'd 2 years ago, and the founder owned 3% when they IPO'd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fine for him, because this guy called Aaron Levy, he's a really talented guy. They've got a fantastic company, and it's 3% of $1 billion is still a lot of money, so that's great. But if that company hadn't been going well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was game over for him. Do you know what I mean? So it only works out if you hit a home run, and that happens in Ireland. That happens like hardly ever. You know what I mean?
So being such a big advocate of bootstrapping, Ronan, what made you go for the million? And are you glad you did?
Yeah, like I'm glad we did, and our investors are that we brought on the angel investors have been really helpful, and so but they haven't been very helpful in terms of the industry or the product or networking in terms of like the company and sales or anything like that. And so from that point of view, it's just because they don't have any insight into that. But they've been very helpful in terms of business structure. And the chairman is one of the angel investors. He's been the chairman for the last 5 years, and we started to have board meetings and having more structure that way. And I think that's been massively beneficial for us. And like I'm kind of a guy, and I'd say it's similar to probably a lot of you guys, just always ideas and jumping from one thing to another. And that's not, when you're trying to be consistently growing a business, that's really not that great. Because we talk about one thing and then I have another idea the next day. I'm telling the same people we're doing this now, and that's very hard. It's hard to work in that environment. So he's been really good at building a structure.
So it's like having co-founders, it's like bringing in someone to help you with
so from that point of view, it's been helpful. But I think we could have had that anyway without investment. We didn't actually have to have investment to have that advice or have that structure. You can just decide to want to do that.
What did $1 million do for Phorest?
So our big challenge was that when we hit the recession in 2008, our industry was hit really hard, and because we were bootstrapped, we didn't have any cash in the bank. We just about got we were just about break even all the time. So our customers overnight started closing down or asking us did they pay less. And we either lost a customer or we reduced prices to stay in business. And so our revenue dropped 20-30% overnight in Ireland, or over a year anyway. And at the same time, our technology wasn't in the cloud, and we knew we had to invest in going to the cloud, but we had no cash to do that. And our development team at the time, they were great guys, but they didn't have the skills to do it, so we needed new people. And so we were just faced with the choice of kind of like, ideally we'd love to have borrowed the money from the bank, but at that time we couldn't do it. So we weren't able to borrow. We had no choice.
It worked.
We had to do it, and it worked out. But I think now, we have to raise funds for growth. Since then, if you have a bootstrap business, it's much easier to get loans from the bank.
Credibility.
Yeah, it's way better, and so a loan is way cheaper than funding.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So what technology is driving Phorest right now? Presumably it's changed a lot since the initial tech stuff.
Yeah, so So what Phorest is now is like it start like a lot of things, you start doing this one little thing, and then that gives you an edge into a market, and then you see other opportunities and you spread into it. And so we started by doing the appointment reminders, and that got us into the salons, and it got us salons putting their appointments into the system. And once they're putting their appointments in the system, we would know everything that's happening in the salon. We know what staff were there, how often the customers were coming in, how much they were spending, what type of treatments they were having, what type of products they were having. So from all that information, we started to build services around that. And so the product today is it's basically like a proper platform for a salon, and they can do all from the basic stuff like stock control or reporting or point of sale appointments and CRM, and then we give them an app that they can give their customers. We give them, do online booking for them, do online reputation management, just like anything to do with marketing their business or getting their customers back in can be its own revenue line itself. And they all build on top of having that core in place. And this is one of the things about a niche is like you look at the niche and you go, what's the market for appointment software? And it's not, in salons alone, it's not a huge market. But what's the market for a platform that's running everything in the salon? It's actually it's substantial. But you don't see that at the start until you're there for a while. So
what are your observations on the Irish startup scene at the moment, and what's needed to improve it? How I feel about this. So I think basically, go back to the bootstrapping thing. I just think that people should they shouldn't be obsessed with raising money. They should look at their business they have. And another thing, sorry, that comes back to that. Sorry to digress about it, but if you raise money for something, often what people do when they raise money is go, right, I'm going to offer this service for free, and I'm going to offer it for free so people are going to use it. And the problem with that is that people will use something because it's free, but it doesn't have to have much value in order for someone to use it. And if you've got an idea that revolves around getting users because it's free, you need to raise money. And I'd say 7 or 8 out of 10 ideas you hear revolve around this concept. And so it's like a mindset that you're caught in where to get users it has to be free. Instead of going, I'm going to have this thing that's going to be incredibly valuable at solving a problem and people will pay for it. I'm going to do something that's free, and so I'm going to get users, and therefore I'm going to need to raise money for that. So there's a sort of cycle like that I think people are caught in. And I was caught in that too. So if you go back to 2001 and 2 when we were starting out, we would have said the same thing. So it's a natural thing for people to think. But I realise now, if I was to go back and tell myself, just solve the problem, will people pay for it? Try to get people to pay for it. And if people do pay for it, you're going to keep adding to it and improving it, and you're going to have a business, and then see where it goes. You know what I mean? So that's kind of... So you mentioned there you've got a lot more competitors now than you had when you started in the game. What characteristics set you apart from them?
It's not that I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but I just personally didn't do it for me. But the lads they didn't really want to build Demonware for the long run or anything. It was like, we'll do this great idea, we'll grow it as big as we can, someone will buy it, great, and we'll be millionaires when we're in our 20s. And that's what happened. So most people probably go, wow, and I did as well. Fair play to them, they did an amazing job, and they were sold by the time they were 27 for 17 million. So that's a fantastic achievement. But it just didn't do it for me. Like that couldn't get me out of bed in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was more like building the organisation, building the company into something. And so basically, we have this long-term mission with salons. We want to have 1 million salons get their clients back in more often. We've had this goal for like 10 years, and we're only at 3,000. So after 10 years, we're like at the tip of the iceberg of it. But we want to keep going. And I think we attract a lot of people into the company based on that idea that we are here for the long run. And we've attracted distributors in other countries as well, like a few countries there, and a few more in the pipeline on that basis. That they have the choice of maybe, there might be some venture-backed company in America, but if they distribute that product, if that company gets sold, what happens to them, to be honest, like, they're going to be low down the list of priorities. So that kind of idea, you know, and as I think really pays off, you know. The other thing as well is if you're venture backed, you tend to go short-term with decisions. So it's like, right, what can we just plan money into now to hit our target for next year? And then at that point, we'll think about hitting the target for the year after that. And what happens is things like you build up a lot of technical debt in your product, you build up problems in your organization, you burn people out, like, so they can do amazing work for 3 years, working 90-hour weeks, and then they can't do it anymore, so they leave you to just get someone else in. And that only takes you so far, and I think that puts pressure on you then to sell. But if you take a more long-term approach to things, you go, right, let's do this now, it won't pay off for 4 or 5 years, but that doesn't matter because we're still going to be around in 4 or 5 years to reach the bench.
So that philosophy led to a lot more staff loyalty within Phorest?
Yeah, like, I think so. I mean, we've really low turnover on staff, and you know, like we just the other day we have to do we were giving out last year like 10-year anniversary awards, you know, to people who've been here 10 years. You know what I mean?
And you don't know this at 10,
yeah, so,
right?
And yeah, that's the thing. Like I think it is unusual, so it kind of there is people who are still attracted to that idea, you know.
So that's amazing insights. Before we open up to the audience, just what would be your 3 top tips for a startup, early stage startup? What would you have done different? You know, what 3 things would you say to look out for?
I'd say give me all the other questions before I start.
Keep it real.
I'd say I think you know, work like do something that provides value to someone and ask to be paid for it. Because the real sign of people are often afraid they want, I'll get the first user and get them for free. And I think that's bullshit. Like, I think if you do something of value, the first user or the first person to use it should pay for it. You know what I mean? If it actually provided value, they will pay for it. And a sign that it's working and provides value is the fact that they pay for it. And if they're not prepared to pay for it, maybe it isn't actually, maybe it's not actually providing that value, or maybe you need to tweak it more to get it to the point where they will. And I think if you just focus on that, you'll and you have somebody paying you for something really early on, it's so much easier to go from there. You know, but that would be my main thing, I think. And the other thing is just don't be just because everybody else is saying you have to build a business a certain way. That doesn't mean, you know, go what your gut instinct tells you as well. Because often your gut instinct, like I talk to a lot of people and their gut instinct is right. When I talk to them, I go, yeah, I was thinking that, but you know, everyone was telling me to do this, or that was what I was reading about in TechCrunch or whatever. It's like if it's in your gut, go with it. Like, you know.
Wide work. Appreciate you coming down, sharing those great insights with us. Thank you, round of applause.